Willie D. Live.
The public schools are terrible for black boys. Just terrible, man. I mean, the statistics show this. And not only are public schools terrible for black boys, they're really terrible for America. The public schools were created as indoctrination factories to get you caught up in the whole go to college, go deep in debt, and then spend the rest of your life on the corporate plantation, almost like a sharecropper, working to pay off an impossible debt, right? That whole system is incredibly fucked up, right? But the capitalists that run society, they were like, okay, how do we get people? Most people are trained to be sheep. Studies show that 70 to 80% of all people will follow authority, even if they know the authority's wrong. They'll just go along with the crowd, even if they know the crowd is wrong, right? So most people in America are not trained to be free thinkers. They're trained to be systematic thinkers, and public schools are part of that. That's what think about this. You get rewarded for sitting down and shutting up. That's it. If you just behave and just do what you're told, that's going to get you good grades.
Get an E in conduct.
Right, and that's why most when they study like valedictorians, how many of those valedictorians go off and become millionaires and all that, it's a very low number because they're not trained to do the kind of creative thinking that you have to do to really be really successful in America. To be successful in America at a high level, you got to get outside the fucking box. You have to, like, systems and all of that, man. The systems are designed to benefit the system, right? So, for example, the American economy, a lot of it runs off consumption, spending money, right? So that's why you're trained to be a consumer. You're not trained to be a saver, an investor, and all that. It also runs off of people that are workers. You need workers, right? That was the problem with the pandemic. People actually found out what it's like to live a life where you're not spending all your time at the corporate plantation, and they didn't want to come back to work. And they were like, okay, how do we trap or trick people to come back into work? Well, things like debt and all the financial insecurity that exists is part of that trap, right? So basically, I struggled in the public school system because I just, I think I just I didn't like being told what to do. I did not relate to the teachers. These were like white ladies from the suburbs. I probably had a little ADHD. When I was 5 years old, my mother, who was about 21 at the time, there was a young white lady that told her. She said when we were in class, she said, your son Boyce, he would never sit down. He would get up and stand up, walk around, and just disrupt the class. She said before I would try to kind of scold him about it. She said, but one day I decided I wanted to play a trick on him. So she said, when he got up and he's standing up, walking around, doing whatever, I just ignored him and I kept teaching. She said, I just kept teaching. And she said, when I got done, I was going to embarrass him by asking him to repeat everything I had just taught while he was distracted. And she said, and your son recited every single thing that I put on that board. And so what this lady told my mother, which probably saved my life, and God bless, I don't know who this lady was, she said, when your son gets to public school, they're going to diagnose him with ADHD, and they're going to try to put him on medication. She said, do not believe them. Do not let them put your son on medication. Do not do that. So the whole time I was in school, my mother fought the teachers. And she's like, no, you're not putting him on meds. Ain't nothing wrong with him. My son is smart. My son is fine. And that's what protected me from what happens to so many of our children. I think boys in general, and maybe black boys, I think we're just different. And we don't always fit in those systems because schools are kind of like prisons on training wheels. Like that school to prison pipeline is very, very real. The systems are very similar. And some of us just don't fit in that system. Maybe school helps some people. Maybe the medication helps some people. It wouldn't have been good for me.